But moving on to attackers having a party, I think, well, Arsenal stopped Vardy's party, but
Mhm.
City couldn't stop Zaha's party when Zaha was
Yeah,
running riot on the day.
man.
Man City
I
2-0 losers. I think we have to
yeah.
shout the top of our voices whenever Man City lose because we never see that happen. And
Yep.
wow, Palace keeping a clean sheet out against a very blunt Manchester City, especially up front. But I have to say, Zaha was running riot on that first
Yeah.
half, and it culminated in Laporte bringing him down. Classic WWE style.
Yeah.
Stop
Who
him
would
from
have
running
thought?
in
Huh?
behind. Yeah,
Who would have
exactly.
thought?
Hello and welcome to another recording of the Al and Jerry Football Podcast with me, Jerry, and my buddy Al.
What's up, guys? How you all doing? And Jerry, I just want to ask you something.
Yeah,
Do you know what's the top YouTube comment for the week or not?
what's the top YouTube
I
comment for
saw
the week?
I saw a YouTube comment that says that the three best football teams in the world are, of course, Pep's Barcelona and the
Right,
AC Milan team of the late 80s. And the third
right.
one is Man United under Ole when Ole is about to get sacked.
Na 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 na. What at the wheel?
is
All is at the wheel.
it is
Na
it
na
too
na
early to
na
sing?
na 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 na. All is at the wheel, at the wheel. That's how it goes, right?
Yeah, that is how it goes. But that's the version of the rival fans actually.
No, man, for sure. I think United, I think, turned into class of '92 when
Yeah.
Ollie's about to get sacked. It's like I think they hear the sorrows from Gary Neville and Paul
Yeah.
Scholes and everybody, and then they just yeah. I don't know. It's it's funny because I guess we saw over the weekend uh, a lot more sort of just work, right? A lot more. I mean, a lot more.
A lot more movement, a lot more
Yeah,
resolute,
yeah, a lot more hard work. That's what.
performances.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, who knew? Al? I mean, bring you breaking news. I mean, Nuno has been sacked as of I think 15 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. Ollie got Nuno sacked, man. So,
Who would have guessed that
and he's
one, huh?
only been at the job for a few months.
Yeah, yeah. Now Spurs were shocking. I mean, we're going to be talking about that, I'm sure. But
Yeah,
Spurs
yeah,
were
yeah.
have been
So
shocking for a while, actually.
can you fill us in on the Spurs and United game? I guess we'll start with that since it
That
was,
was the big one over the weekend. Huh?
yeah, a big one over the weekend. Well, we don't really know whether Spurs are top six anymore. They
Mm, mm,
seem to be. They've dropped a lot under Nuno. I have to say, just before Al goes
mm.
into his analysis of the match, I have to say, Nuno being sacked, definitely. I think 9 goals in 10 games, not having a shot on target against United at the weekend, and a few other stats would have been quite damning. But I don't think it's Nuno's fault entirely. I do think the team needs a little bit of an overhaul. I think
Mm.
definitely defensively they look a bit short with Emerson Royale and Romero. I think
Yeah.
it's been sort of not it's not been immediate the effect on the team. And I do think personally, I think Harry Kane not leaving over the summer and them probably in hindsight being able to use that money right to get a new striker or to actually go out there and get a new player, I think it's affected them a lot. So they're definitely in the transition phase. What can you tell us from that game itself and what you saw?
Well, looking at it, of course, the big shocker over when the team sheet was announced was, of course, Man United going three at the back, and of course playing with wing backs, essentially playing a 5-3-2, which on the day, of course, I think, barring Spurs, which we're going to talk about in a bit, but on the day, of course, served Man United well because I think it frees up a lot of heavy duty work that perhaps one man that scored a sublime first goal would have had to do under a 4-2-3-1. So I think the first thing that I saw, particularly in that game when I looked at Man United, is that I looked at it and said, One thing is, of course, the movement from the fullbacks were much better as compared to the week before when United played Liverpool, or rather much more cohesive when they were bombing forward. And also, I think with a back three, Fred and McTominay don't get exposed in such a heavy way. I think, of course, Spurs, I think very slow build up. Apart from Son Heung-min, I don't think anybody really threatened so badly towards the Man United team. So we've got to bear that in mind, definitely. But I think with Man United, the credit is definitely due because obviously a manager changed his tactics. A manager found a formation that got you the win. I think that Man United really, honestly, looking at the drama that happened last week, I think they are approaching game to game by let's approach this game and then the other and then the other and then the other. And I think that's what even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be doing because honestly, I think that's what he sees. And I think he sees every game to be a must-win game now, which very honestly, I think the test will come midweek and of course next week against City. But, looking at Spurs, I think they have definitely gone backward to a certain degree, which is funny because when they started the season, when Tottenham played Man City, I actually thought Tottenham were actually pretty good on the day. I thought that they were moving the ball fast. I thought, Lucas Moura had a very good game. I thought he was linking up well with the attack. I know Harry Kane didn't play that game, the first game of the season, but I thought Spurs would be looking good. And it's also funny because Espirito Santos' side, when he coached Wolves, they were strong, they were formidable, they were quick, and all of these things we don't see at Tottenham. So something must not be working for them not to have a shot on goal even, right? A shot on target even. So I think that's really very worrying. And what's even more worrying is that I think a lot of fans have started to question Harry Kane's performance because even when I looked at the game and watching the game, I think this is not the Kane that we know of or we've grown to see over the years. He just looks very lost in this formation. He just looks very. It's as though if you've never watched Harry Kane play before this and you've not known about Harry Kane, we probably not know anything about this particular guy at the moment of time. Because he's doing close to nothing. So the way I look at it, I think Man United, they're approaching it from a game-to-game basis. I don't think that Man United fans should get all too giddy because they came up with the best possible opponent after getting trashed 5-0. And I think on the day they were good. Great finish, Ronaldo, great playing to pass to Cavani, and of course, great finish by Rashford as well. But I think the real test is going to come against City because City are going to be passing much quicker. They're going to be penetrating with much more force. They're going to come at you. They're going to come at you with all those players. And how are they going to be dealing with it? I think they're going to be going with the 3-5-2. But what do you think, Jerry? I mean, what's going to be next for Spurs? I mean, we know about Man United. I think we've been covering them a lot for a couple of weeks, but I think Spurs right now, new manager perhaps.
Yeah, definitely. I think they might go for caretaker manager for a few weeks, but I think we were talking about the Levy decision, right? On I think Harry Kane go, whether he made the right decision on keeping him. I think from a financial point of view, I think it's worked in that sense where he might have maybe helped the club, I think, by just keeping him there, not allowing him to go. Maybe he might get a better price for him next summer or what, but it looks like it's backfired in terms of
Yeah, it has.
technically on the pitch, because there's definitely just it's like an empty void there with Harry Kane. You don't really know what you're going to get, and when you do know what you're going to get from him, it's not the same work rate that he has shown, right? And I think a lot of teams in the past have known that Spurs' threat come from Harry Kane and Son, not only with their attacking threat but also with their work rate and the way they press as well. I just haven't seen that from Harry Kane too much, and I do feel that midfield is a bit over reliant on Tanguy and Ndombele. I think Ndombele is a good player. He's a really good player, but if you compare that with Christian Eriksen, a few years ago when he was there, it it was
different
clear.
dynamic
I
now.
mean, yeah, it's a different dynamic when Dele Alli, Christian Eriksen, and Harry Kane were on form, in the form of their
Yeah.
lives. Especially with Christian Eriksen, I think they really missed that hardworking midfielder, and I don't
Mm.
see that. I didn't see the hard work with Sissoko. Now he's gone. I don't see the hard work
Yes.
with Ndombele. I might be proven wrong, but I think you see the first game, like you mentioned, Spurs
Mm.
beating City 1-0, right? I think we saw a lot of work on that day actually to get that result. It was a result I think they grinded out. I think
Yeah.
on that day, Spurs sweat more. I think Spurs actually put a lot more effort than City did on that day in terms of just grinding
Mm.
out the result. But ever since that performance, we haven't seen that. I think the first three games they had kept clean sheets, and it looked like Spurs were going to be that team which were hard to break down and dangerous on the counter. But now they look easy to break down and they can't get goals, whether on the counter or. So the little bit of optimism we saw at the beginning of the season for Spurs and Spurs fans has been very quickly wiped away. And it has exposed a lot of issues in that team. I think starting with Harry Kane being there, not wanting to be there, maybe.
Mm.
So definitely that's the issue. But Al, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the 70-year-old front line of because if you look at the match as well, I think Ronaldo's goal was class, right? I mean, to
It
finish from
was.
that angle, I think was really good. I think so well deserved lah, that one. And with Cavani, it was a great finish, just looped finish over the keeper on rushing Lloris. But I felt the third goal was too easy, right?
Yeah,
Rashford
it
was just
was. It
given too
was.
much space to run down the middle, and I
It
think
was. It was.
there was a bit of light for Spurs at the start of the game between Romero and
Mm.
Dyer's communication, but I think the communication fell away for that third goal, and you could see Dyer just look over at Romero as
Yeah.
though like who should be covering him, and that's when the
Mm.
communication sort of is not there, that Spurs team. But yeah, I mean, I was most surprised to see a bunch of old men, leading the line and,
Mm.
and, and setting the standards. And it just brought me something to, just to end on this on this game. Something Salah said in the interview before the derby, right, against Manchester. One
Mm.
thing he had
Mm.
said was that Ronaldo won more Ballon d'Ors after the age of 30.
Yeah.
Messi also elevated his performance a little bit after
Mm.
the age of 30. And you're starting to see a trend around the world, I think, with players like
Mm.
Lewandowski, Karim Benzema, mainly attacking players, right? Mainly
Mm.
strikers,
Mm.
you know. Um, Hitting some sort of form and sort of a different level in their performance after the age of 30. Do you think that's going to become a thing in the future? Do you think, I mean, that generation of players might outlast the early generation, obviously with nutrition and football and, and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all that, all the protection
Hey,
players again nowadays?
you picked up on the front two that Man United had, and whilst is great, and I'll come to the Ballon d'Or part. And whilst is great, that the thing about Cavani playing with Ronaldo is that Cavani doing the dog's work, if I would call it, right,
Mm-hmm.
really frees up a lot of space in the box for Ronaldo. Ronaldo just goes around and score you the type of goals that only Ronaldo can score. My only concern, if I'm looking at it on a Man United perspective, is that I don't think anybody can do what Cavani has done. Right? I don't think that working role can be done by Martial. I don't think so. I fear for the likes of Sancho and even more so Donny van de Beek if United are going to be persisting with the 3-5-2. Rashford might be able to, because we know he can be a live wire, but you need a specific set of attributes to be playing off a striker like what Cavani did with Ronaldo. And it was, of course, it was very effective, I thought. Both of them
Yeah.
scored. Ronaldo got a goal and an assist. My only thing is that I think Cavani is not going to be starting every game. And looking at Mo Salah and what he mentioned, and of course Ronaldo getting more of the Ballon d'Ors after 30 years old. I think
Yeah.
one aspect
Obviously, I meant, I think, before he turned 36. I think at 36,
yeah,
that window is getting smaller and smaller. But I'm just talking in
definitely.
general, Al, about 30 players. Because last time when we were younger, we used to hear like after the age of 30, 31,
Yeah, they
32,
slow
players
down
will
and
stop.
stuff like that.
Yeah, slow down. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think with the game today is very different because footballers really take care of their body. I think
Yeah.
We didn't see that to a great degree back in the day. I think back in the day, the common consensus was that at the age of 27, 28, you are at your peak. And once you reach 30, 31, you are you're on your way slowing
Yeah.
down. I think an honorable mention also you can go to Ryan Giggs, because I think Giggs was one of those who also really took care of his body, and Ronaldo is a
Yeah.
testament. And I think, touching about it, about Mo Salah, right? I think Mo Salah could be, in this category as well, because if you look at him, he looks pretty damn fit. If you really look at Mo Salah, I think Mo Salah
Yeah.
has got a long way to go. I don't think he's slowing down, and I think he's only going to get better, because you look at all these players past 30, like Messi and Ronaldo and all that. I think
Yeah.
once they take care of their
Even.
body, their game has matured so much in terms of
Yeah.
experience. You know,
Yeah.
so, and I think definitely Salah can
Yeah. I think
definitely.
even with someone like Ibrahimovic, if you look at him, right,
Yes,
he
yes,
sort of
correct, correct.
aged like fine wine in that way.
Mm,
Yeah. So I guess it was a it was a good reply. I think a good response
yeah,
from United after that the shit show at like Old Trafford,
mm,
right? I mean that was quite a bad you
it
know
was.
performance all the way around. But it was a good response, and definitely I think Ollie needs to switch it up in terms of his tactics, which he did. Find a
Mm,
system that suits the players better, and try
yeah,
to get the best out of the players. At least until the end of the season, I think we see where that goes. Instead of always being like, oh, 1 week he should be out, 1 week we should give him a bit of time. I think both of us also are just going to observe what he does to sort of show his worth for the remainder of the season, because I don't think United would pull a Spurs and sack him halfway through the season. I think they have a lot more respect for Oli in that sense. But it'd be
yeah.
interesting to see how he switches the team up, switches the system up, to fight the different challenges that he has. So moving on from that, obviously we know Nuno has been sacked. We're looking forward to see what the next order of business is for Spurs. So moving on to their bitter rivals in South London, Arsenal. Wow, I watched the game over the weekend,
Mm.
and it's Arsenal FC. They're by far the
Arsenal.
best team the world has ever seen. I'm not too sure whether the best team in the world.
If I had $1 for every Arsenal fan who was slagging off Ramsdale signing, I'd be
Yeah,
a million.
you've been yeah, man. Aaron Goatsdale.
Yep,
Many
yep.
different names for
Still,
him.
what a
Aaron
save.
Goatsdale. What a save! I think he clawed that ball off the line, and
Mm.
the thing is, Arsenal were away on the day, and Aaron Ramsdale's basically his POV was against the sun. So I mean, he was dealing with a few things in the first half,
Yep, yep, yep.
but I think it was a good free kick by Madison. I think he got the
Mm.
ball up and down very quickly. But what I appreciated a lot about that passage of play was the rebound that he saved. A lot of great
Mm.
keepers pull off the great saves, but like that rebound that he saved from the second from the sort of save being rebounded, I think was as crucial as that save. And a good
Yeah.
start, by Aaron Ramsdale in terms of not only just the saves. I think Leno was a great shot stopper, right?
Mm.
Burn Leno
Mm.
was a great shot stopper, but I don't think he was that good on the ball and that good at playing out from the back.
Yeah,
I
his
think,
distribution wasn't as good. Yeah.
yeah, I think Ramsdale's distribution has been really great. I think it's made a difference.
Mm.
Obviously, coinciding with the fact that their backline now is a lot more stronger. I really
Mm.
want to commend Arsenal's backline, because that backline of Gabriel, Ben White, Takehiro Tomiyasu, and Nuno Tavares, I think they play really, really well. They
Mm.
complement each other, especially Gabriel and Ben White, because both of them are ball playing centre backs. And Gabriel, I think, does more of the busy work, dirty work, right? And he was the
Yes.
one that opened the scoring, with
Mm.
with a good glancing header. I think a very, very,
Mm.
very good glancing header uh, to the back post, right? And he looks very commanding in both boxes, whether it's the attacking box and the
Mm.
defensive box. Aside from that back five unit, I think one of the things that's made a big difference in Arsenal's performances has been that 4-4-2 implementation. Well, they played 4-1-4-1 with Lacazette playing behind Aubameyang, right? So it's sort of a 4-4-2. And this system works well, especially for the midfielders. So the
Mm.
midfielders of Sambi Lokonga and Thomas, they look a lot more comfortable playing in this system rather than a 4-4-3. As you know, with a
Yep.
four four
Yep.
three, there is a lot of pressure on that midfield to transition the ball from defensive to attacking, right? But with this,
Mm.
they have a lot more time on the ball and they can retain the ball a lot better because I think with this formation, Emil Smith Rowe and Bukayo Saka, they're not too high up the pitch. So they
Mm.
can drop back and form a midfield forward, Lokonga and Thomas Partey, which I think helps the team a lot more, right?
Yeah.
And just leave Lacazette to drop in that pocket and do the work because you need a number 10 for the
Mm.
system to function. Because if not, the striker is just going to be isolated up top, right? With a 4-4-2
Yeah.
or 4-1-4-1. You need the number 10 to drop in that pocket, find the space, tread the balls, hold the ball up and everything. I think Lacazette does that well and he complements Aubameyang with that. But I think this formation works well for this Arsenal team. They work hard, they know what they're doing, they hold the ball. And the second half, when Leicester came back and bombarded basically, I think they had a really good second half, a better second half than Arsenal did. They brought on Patson Daka and brought on Lookman and looked
Mm.
to try to use these runners off the ball to destabilize that back four that Arsenal had. But they're able to retain the ball better and they look a lot more solid, as in not having spaces in behind for opposition team to just exploit and just to
Mm.
to get in to just get men in behind that back line. I think that firstly the back four, the back five, obviously including Ramsdale, worked a lot. And this formation, I think, has made a big difference in the way Arsenal have looked over the last few weeks. I think if they can take it from here, I think I see Arsenal gung hoing up the table. Really,
Yeah,
I
they'd
do.
go far. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
the other thing about Arsenal that I was also very impressed with now, of course, you've mentioned the tactics, right? And I
yeah,
think that's spot on. But Arsenal of the old, right? They would have crumbled and the end result would probably have been a 2-2. We've
yeah,
seen this a lot from Arsenal.
yeah,
Arsenal can't hold a lead away from home. But I thought that on the day, of course, I thought Leicester had certain areas in the pitch where they could have also been better at. I think
yeah,
Leicester City of last season probably would have given it much more of a go. I thought the front three were not as good as we want them to be.
yeah,
Uh, I
yeah,
thought Leicester only started playing on the deck after Arsenal got the second goal. But I was really impressed with Arsenal because, yep, on one end we could say massive saves by the goalkeeper. Ramsdale didn't just make one good save. I thought he made many good saves in the game, and I thought that on a
yeah,
whole, Arsenal put on a very professional performance. Sometimes it's what you got to do on an away day.
yeah,
And on the day they got 2 goals and they kept a clean sheet. And Arsenal looked a completely different team as compared to when we saw them on the opening day against Brighton. Because I thought players like Bruno Tavares, he was fantastic. I thought Ben White is really coming into this team. Gabriel, Tomiyasu's playing well. And the other thing about the midfield is also there's a very good balance there. If you realize, I think a lot of teams, they have wingers. Well, I know Arsenal don't play essentially with Emil Smith Rowe as a winger, but they've got wingers who more or less do always do the same thing, both left and right. But
yeah,
I think Emil Smith Rowe and Bukayo Saka, they're different in that sense, and it adds a lot of balance into the team. Saka is your all-round winger. He's going to drive at you, but I think Emil Smith Rowe is a little bit more in possession. He's a little bit more of those who's going to be keeping the ball, picking out the pass, and of course, as you can see, he went into the box, got a goal. So I think Arsenal really they've got good things going on for them. They started the season not so well, but now
yeah,
they're playing with 2 forwards, and I think this is what we wanted to see. I know
yeah,
Lacazette was in the early part of the season, but they complement each other really well. And it's time will only tell, I think, because if you look at the results after the City game, and I think Arsenal have been doing actually pretty well. I think it's 4 wins and 2 draws or something like that. So
Yeah,
on a whole, I think happy days for Arsenal. Happy days
happy
at all.
days, man. Happy days. I think. Yeah, I think a lot of improvements, but consistency is the thing now. With every team that looks to maintain that top four spot, I think Arsenal's problem the last few years has been that
Mm,
consistency. Now that there's promise, there's a little bit of light in terms of a different setup, a new bunch of players, and they look like a reinvigorated team. They look like a refreshed team. They look like
mm,
a team that Arteta has picked and Arteta is truly managing. But consistency is going to be the name of the game if they
mm.
are to get a top four spot. And that because last time Arsenal used to be, you know, top four used to be their
Yeah,
title, right? But now
their
they've lost
trophy.
that, and I think
Yeah.
a lot of Arsenal, if Arsenal fans, if you were to ask them, I think they take that back in an instant, at least to be challenging for the Champions League. I think it's a big thing for any club also in that sense. But yeah, moving on from Arsenal, right? I don't know, Arsenal's defensive unit as of the last few games have looked a lot more solid than
They
the
have, yeah.
fabled Van Dijk and Arnold and Robertson
Mm,
because
mm.
I don't know. I think Liverpool have moving on to the Liverpool Brighton game. I think Liverpool have looked very open this season from the back.
Mm,
I think
mm,
I think they've conceded a lot of goals, and if we were to speak about the Liverpool and Brighton game, I think that was the problem in the second half, right?
mm.
So basically, Liverpool didn't defend the half spaces properly. They left a bit too much space opened up
Yeah,
for the attackers, especially Trossard on that day, and
yeah.
they allowed Brighton to get themselves, basically drag themselves back into that game. And definitely, I think Liverpool, they look very good attacking wise. I think they're very dangerous on the counter attack,
Mm,
and the front three work very hard to press from the front. But I do think
mm.
they look vulnerable from the back, from what I saw from that performance. And it seemed like Van Dijk didn't want to clatter Lallana, man. I think the players they gave too much respect to Adam Lallana, especially for the
Yeah,
second goal.
no. They, they,
Because
they,
the
they were old
second,
mates.
yeah, yeah, no, really, Al, if you were to look at that highlights again, right, for that game, so Lallana carried the ball through the midfield and assisted Trossard for the second goal. So it was all
Yeah.
down to him making that play for Brighton's all-important second goal. And I just
Mm,
saw like Van Dijk just kept tracking back, and he
mm,
could have
mm.
easily clattered Lallana there, because Lallana is not like he's not like a very big physical player. But I felt that Liverpool gave too much respect to Lallana on the day because I felt he was one of Brighton's most potent
Mm,
attackers, and he
mm,
was decisive in them getting the second goal.
mm.
So maybe that's the only criticism for them on that day. A bit too much respect shown to a former player there when they could have been a bit rough on him. But
Mm,
I definitely
mm.
think that Liverpool do miss Fabinho in that midfield.
Yeah, I was just
And
gonna
it just
say, I think
shows,
Fabinho was a miss.
yeah, it just shows really because I think when Naby Keita looks to have the same recurring problems that he's had since he started his Liverpool career in terms of not being able to finish games and just hobbling out of games, with these little
Yeah.
niggling injuries. But that midfield definitely thrives with Fabinho there protecting so that Henderson can push forward because we saw with Henderson's first goal, he should be
Mm,
getting up more, he should be shooting more, he should be passing more, he should be assisting more.
yeah.
Even with Chamberlain coming on, he got the assist for the second goal. He looked pretty solid, but with both of them there, they need someone there to protect them. And I think that's something we've seen with the United team, that's something we've seen
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
with the Spurs team. They don't have good cover even
Mm,
with City and Fernandinho and Rodri, I think they have good cover. Even with Chelsea, with Kante, I think they have good cover. But it's just so
mm,
important that the midfield has that cover, and I think Fabinho gives that to the team, and that's what they missed over the weekend. But yeah,
mm,
I was very happy to see Adam Lallana get the standing ovation he deserved. I
mm.
think this is the proper farewell that he deserved to get because he was one of the founding forefathers of, like Klopp said in his post-match,
Yeah, Klopp's
of
era at
the
Liverpool, isn't it?
exactly. So, I mean, he did not win the league when he was the focal point of the team, but he did start that trend of pressing, being a hardworking player for the team, being smart in terms of attacking the spaces and finding the right spaces, and being good in your positional play and tracking back for the team and everything. So I think Lallana, it was a match for Lallana on the day, and he got the reception that he deserved.
I remember in Klopp's first game in charge of Liverpool. I don't know whether you remember this, and I think
Spurs,
it was
right? It was a
substituted.
0-0 draw at Spurs.
Yes, and Lallana was being brought off, and he was just knackered, and you could see that game one onwards, Klopp was telling them to press, which of course is a testament to Adam Lallana, because he is indeed the founding players of this Guggen pressing system. So good on him, definitely.
Yeah, it was great. I think Liverpool, I think they could do a lot more to be defensively solid, but I think that will improve if their midfield is sorted out and Fabinho returns to the team. I definitely think that will improve, but they've definitely looked a bit vulnerable at the back, and that could be the cost of them winning the league this season or winning any form of trophies. Obviously, we'll see if the attack can bail them out. But moving on to attackers having a party, I think, well, Arsenal stopped Vardy's party, but City couldn't stop Zaha's party when Zaha was running riot on the day. Man City, 2-0 losers. I think we have to shout the top of our voices whenever Man City lose, because we never see that happen. And wow, Palace keeping a clean sheet out against a very blunt Manchester City, especially up front. But I have to say, Zaha was running riot in that first half, and it culminated in Laporte bringing him down. Classic WWE style.
Stop him from
running in behind. Yeah, exactly. I thought that was pretty clumsy by Laporte, and I think that captaincy of Ruben Diaz and that defensive sort of system that they have looked a bit vulnerable, over courses of that season. Probably still yet to get better, but definitely I think the main thing on City's lips and some City fans' tongues would be the fact that they were a bit blunt up front. What do you think?
Well, I think we've been seeing it with Palace, actually. I mean, to just command them a little bit, because I think ever since the Arsenal game, because I've been watching, I watched the highlights of this, because I think it was on the same time as the Liverpool game, right?
Yes.
So I watched Palace play Arsenal, I watched Palace play City, and I think Patrick Vieira is actually very attacking minded, and funny because
and they press very aggressively. I think
they do.
I think it was only fitting that Conor Gallagher got his goal, his last goal, I think, after a long time.
Yeah, so City played with Phil Foden being the sort of false nine, and looking at the team sheet, I thought, it's good. City's got it in the bag, because I think whenever Foden plays, City always look a lot sharper. He's a lot better on the ball, and Grealish back to his normal position on the left, and it was all odds to be City going to be getting the 3 points. But I forgot then Palace came to play as well, because this was not Palace at all. And again, mentioning Patrick Vieira, I think Palace are very progressive. I think players like James MacArthur, which honestly always goes under the radar a little bit. Of course, I like Conor Gallagher. I think I can't stop singing his praises. I'm thinking Thomas Tuchel must be looking at performances like this and recalling him back to come and play in Chelsea. He's a Chelsea boy, isn't it, Conor Gallagher? So definitely, I look at Palace and I'm thinking they done all right here, because you look at Wilfried Zaha, the first goal. I think probably you could say it was a little bit of a scruff shot, into the side. And Palace got the 1-0 lead. Palace got the 1-0 lead. And
what do you think about that guy, Victor Olise? I think he came on the second half and he looked number 7 for Palace,
Yeah, no, Michael Olise, he was...
Sorry, Michael Olise, yeah.
Yeah, he again, another life where I think he came on for Koyate, isn't it? And when he came on, again, pace up front, and he was just... He was the one who got the assist for Gallagher's goal.
Yes. So it was him that ran down the right-hand channel, right? So he passed it to Zaha. Zaha looked like he almost wasted the opportunity.
Correct.
gave it back to Olise, and Olise with the first time touch back to Gallagher, and Gallagher with the
Yeah,
first
like I
time finish.
just whacked
Yeah,
it
it's a
into
very
the
well worked goal. You can see that
correct,
that
correct,
team, they
correct.
are very technical when they attack, and they're very sort of they're very good passing. They can pass and move very well as well.
They do, and it's very quick movements. And Palace is no walkover. And I thought maybe City might have kept their foot off the gas a little bit with this
Yeah,
game. Probably an easy win for them. Pep must have
yeah.
been thinking, and
But
I look
definitely
at
annoying to be at home and to lose that
definitely,
match, I
definitely,
think.
definitely, and of course losing a goal. What first 5 minutes? And
Yeah,
honestly, the way I look at it, Laporte, if he didn't bring Zaha down, Zaha's on the races. It's probably going to be 3-0. The final score at
yeah,
this point.
yeah.
So hard done for City. Obviously, Laporte got getting the red card. I don't know how bad that's going to be costing them for the next game, because I don't think Pep trusts Nathan Ake that much in terms of his back four. But he's probably
Right.
having to start him next week against Man United. But
Yeah.
credit Palace. I think I can
It
see
might
their
it
better.
might be Diaz and Stones against United, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Diaz and Stones as well. So, but credit Palace. I think the 4-3-3 works very well. I think that they press very diligently. I like Ayu, Zaha, and
Mm.
Edward in the front. I think they are a
Yeah.
very good front three as well. And Conor
Definitely
Gallagher,
one of the more fun teams to watch this season and the attractive teams to watch this season.
definitely they are. They
Yeah.
are. And Conor Gallagher also. I think well done to him, because I think he played really well and have been playing very well for the last couple of games. So that's
A-
good on him.
yeah. Agent Gallagher doing the job for Chelsea.
Agent
Chelsea
Gallagher.
having Agent Gallagher, yeah, doing the job for Chelsea, and yeah. Yeah, so moving on to Chelsea, I think Agent Gallagher did the job for Crystal Palace against City. Another solid performance, Al, and a clean sheet on that day. And
Mm.
another week, another fullback with goals.
Thomas Tuchel is working some form of magic, lah. I think fullbacks are doing extra training for positioning to score worldies
Yeah.
week in, week out for Chelsea.
So the thing is with Chelsea, they do place. I think he has established the system with three at the back in terms of the centre backs, right? So
Yep.
the centre backs like Rudiger, Christensen, they cover a lot for Ben Chilwell and Reece James,
Right.
especially when the other team are transitioning to from their defensive flow to attack. So they have covered there. I think that system really works well, and it allows for Ben Chilwell and Reece James to attack and bomb forward, because they know that whatever happens, I think Rudiger and Christensen, they cover for them at the back, as well as N'Golo Kante and Jorginho. I think they keep that midfield very tight, right? They keep that midfield
Yeah.
very compact, which allows Chelsea. So right now, Chelsea play with a 3-4-2-1, right? With the three at the
Yeah.
back, the four being Chilwell, Jorginho, Kante, and James, two being Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech, and obviously Havertz at the foot of that attacking formation, right?
Yeah.
But I do think in attack when Chelsea are in their attacking flow, that formation changes to a 3-2-4-1, with Chilwell
Yeah.
and James just behind Hudson-Odoi and Ziyech attacking. So that front five of Chelsea, that front three, originally they start with a front three with Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech, and Havertz, forms into a front five actually of
Yeah.
Chilwell, James,
With the fullback
Ziyech, Hudson-Odoi,
supporting.
and Havertz. Exactly. So in that way, the midfielders keep it compact in the middle, and the front and the back three, they do the covering work, right? In case there needs anybody in case there's a counter attack on the way and everything. So definitely, I think Tuchel has mastered that system, made that
Mm.
system work, which has allowed the fullbacks to get goals and to be very very attacking minded, which is very dangerous because not only did they look solid defensively, but the defenders are scoring goals. Al, I wasn't expecting that. I thought we could make fun of them a bit this season, but
No,
not much
definitely. I
chance
mean,
there.
I I,
Yeah,
I think as far as formation goes, I think Chelsea's three three four two one essentially looks the nicest of the formations of the 3-5-2 as compared to say Man United's one. But yeah, Chelsea, who needs strikers, man? You know,
Yeah,
speaking a little bit about that. I mean, I do feel a little bit for Hakim Ziyech. I think he had a decent game. Should have got a goal.
got the goal. Yeah,
Yeah, a bit hard done by. I think he hit the post, and I think he had a goal ruled out for offside as well. But yeah, Chelsea set up. You know, before I speak about them being title contenders, I know it's only November, but Chelsea's setup really complements the attack to really attack in a very progressive manner because, like you said, the players like Chilwell and Reece James, it's no fluke that they're getting the goals because this is definitely
mm,
tactical. They are supporting the front, essentially front three, right?
yeah,
So it doesn't matter who really your strikers are because at times when Chelsea are bombing forward, it looks like they are having 5 strikers. You know,
yeah,
last week I saw
exactly.
Chilwell do that a lot, and Reece James got 2 worldies last weekend. But yeah, I mean, Chelsea, I think they only got the goal. I think Reece James scored somewhere along after the hour mark, and I was switching channels, you know, between the other games that were going on, and I'm thinking, is Chelsea going to be dropping points against Newcastle here? You know, Newcastle
Yeah, there was a
has
possibility.
yeah, there was a possibility. Newcastle has always proved to be not always, but rather they have nicked points off Chelsea a little bit, you know, over the course of the Premier League, you know, over the last maybe 10 years or so. So I was thinking, you know, this could be a nil-nil here because obviously Chelsea are not with their preferred strikers. I know Lukaku didn't play, and Timo Werner didn't play. So, but of course, you know, they come up with the goals and winning 3-0 on the day. I mean, looking at it now, looking at how we all know the Premier League so well and how teams that usually may look like they're losing, may look like they're drawing, and suddenly pop up with the goods to get all the 3 points. This is very title contender like, isn't it, Jerry?
Yeah, exactly. It's very title contender like because you see eventually the Newcastle defense gave way and the
Mm.
front five with Reece
Yeah.
James and Del Chilwell attacking, they sort of made the breakthrough, right? So it's just a matter of time when they make the breakthrough. It's not whether they will make the breakthrough, it's just when they make their breakthrough, right?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
system is very hard for teams to deal with, I think, and it's very well drilled. I think it's obvious we can see that system is well drilled. You hardly have defenders having off days, bad performances, making mistakes, and I think Tuchel is the type of manager to really, I think, get into the team if they do make those mistakes. So Chelsea look very well drilled, defensively solid, and without Lukaku in the team, they do look like an attacking threat. So very much the full package to win the league. And I do think the defense, just to give them the credits, they do look a lot more solid than Liverpool's defense and City's defense this season,
That's true.
and ultimately could be them winning the league. But we will not say, right?
Still a long way
Because
to go, lah.
a long way to go. Who knows? Arsenal might do a really good comeback and make Arsenal red. I mean, make London red, but definitely, I'm just kidding there. But moving on, I think Chelsea were definitely the most dangerous team on the weekend, and the team to watch. Definitely, I think all teams will be looking to see if they do drop points. But other honorable mentions go to West Ham, who got 4-1 result on the way.
Oh yeah, Declan
Yeah,
Rice,
yeah.
good
What a
performance.
performance! I think by West Ham. Good result against Aston Villa, and Aston Villa looking a little bit vulnerable this season now. I think they've dropped to
Yeah,
13th
yeah,
or
I think
14th, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
definitely not at where Aston Villa wants to be at this
As
point.
similar 15th at the moment.
15th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've dropped to 15th, to just above Watford, Leeds, and Burnley. Definitely not a place Aston Villa want to be or should be, but I think West Ham have really. It looks like over the last few weeks, West Ham have really solidified that top four spot. They haven't really moved from the top four spot out.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, and they look good. David Moyes looks like he got a proper system. They're actually playing really good football, and
Yeah,
when they've got their whole team, you know, lined up as to how they want to play, Mikel Antonio, and I think West Ham's midfield is a driving force. You know, I'm really impressed by the midfield. Fornals, Benrahma, Souček. Some results have gone against them, which probably they could have gotten something over the course of the Premier League this season. We think of Man United, where probably they could have gotten a draw, and credit to West Ham. I think they were fantastic on the day. I thought Declan Rice had a really good performance against Aston Villa. Fornals had a goal. Benrahma had an assist. Lanzini as well. Let's not forget him.
Yeah.
Manuel Lanzini coming off the bench. So they actually have a very, very solid team. Mikel Antonio also, I'm really impressed with the work that he's putting in, the shift that he's putting in, the physical presence that he has, playing off the players like Jared Bowen and all of these players. So good days for West Ham to come. And of course, Moyes boys might be creeping into the Champions League positions. We never know.
Yeah, they're a very competent European team, actually. Yeah, we never know. Old man Moyes might take that West Ham team this season. But yeah, that's another weekend of games, match day 10. So that's 10 matches already done and over with. So what a weekend of games. Been a great weekend of games, and we look forward to the next weekend and to bring you all the reactions and analysis. So that's me, Jerry, from the Ellen Jerry Football Podcast. See you guys next week.
Ciao, guys. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.